Hello everyone, Rose and I are back with a few more book reviews and an exciting e-resource purchase. So Rose, do you want to start us off with that?
Yes, as I said, and we've been looking for your feedback. We're investigating some new e-resource purchases for the library, and we're excited about one that we're offering. It'll be starting in January 2021. We like the A to Z products here at the library, and I know some of you have used recipes from A to Z World Foods and have looked at the world travel as well. So next year we're going to try A to Z World Culture, which is a resource on history, language, food, and folklore of over 170 countries. And I think it's great for adults, but also probably a useful tool for school children. So we can't wait to check it out.
That's right, we're very excited about that one. So I'm going to take us on a very small trip to France today with my book review, which is One by One by Ruth Ware. But to start off, what I want to talk to you guys a bit about is the rule we kind of use here at the library to determine whether you should finish a book or not. So generally speaking, we say whatever the number 100 minus your age is the number of pages you need to dedicate before you decide to not finish a book. I should say also for recreational reading, kids, if you have required reading, you got to read it. But so basically, what this does is allows you to give any book a chance, but also recognize that your time is valuable and there are so many great books out there. So all that said, today I'm going to talk to you guys about One by One by Ruth Ware, which I was so excited to get a hold of after finishing Turn the Key by Ruth Ware, which is a 5-star book in my opinion. So here we are with Ruth Ware, narrated by Imogen Church. I love her so much. There is a tech company who started an app called Snoop, which I sort of envision as Instagram for music. That's a very basic description, but basically that. They book a working ski trip at a chalet in the French Hills, and they start their week off by kind of discussing the successes of the year when one of the top execs ambushes the meeting with a buyout deal. This is very divisive within the group. Some of them are really pro the decision to sell because they're going to make a lot of money. Some of them aren't invested because they don't have shares in the company. So after a painfully awkward meeting, they decide they better get some ski time in because the weather is turning. So even though they're warned not to go down the black runs, surprise, they do. And this top exec doesn't come back. So they're very worried sitting at the chalet, and suspicions are rising because obviously people have motives to make sure that this top executive does not return from the ski trip. While they're sitting there having these discussions, of course, an avalanche comes, trapping them there. So here we are. I bet you guys have already guessed what the title means too. While they're trapped in the chalet, one by one, these employees wind up dead. So premise overall sounds pretty good. Where I'd say this one falls a little bit short for me is there's far too much dialogue and only a couple of characters are really fleshed out, which for me makes me not care who ends up dead, to be perfectly honest. So while I'd say for some people it might be worth checking out too, because people like books for different reasons. What I would say, if you like the premise of this book, I'd give Sherry Lapina's An Unwanted Guest or Taylor Adams's No Exit a try, just because I think they're slightly stronger. There we are.
Yes, because I like Ruth Ware as well, and now I'm not sure whether you've put me off it or whether it's sort of piqued my curiosity.
That's
so
right.
We'll have to see. Compared to that, I've read a much tamer book, but delightful all the same. I've just finished reading The Glass House by Beatrix Colan, and I found it quite enchanting. The language is magical, and the storyline, it's partly history because it was set back in 1911 and 1912, and part romance. So that's quite intriguing. The story revolves around Balmara, the Scottish estate of Edward Pick, a rather difficult man, and the legacy of the glass house filled with exotic plants. And his daughter, Antonia, has been the caretaker. She's lived there all her life, and she's always assumed that the estate would go to her. There is a brother as well in the family, but he's never around. He's going around the world looking for exotic plants, which is not a lucrative career, and it really is not connected necessarily with the glass house, which is filled with exotic plants. So there's an estrangement there for sure. But after while this sort of controversy or process about the estate is going on, Edward's wife and daughter appear from India, unannounced, with a lot of suitcases, well, baggage, a lot of baggage. So Antonia assumes they're going to stay for a while. So there's a little bit of tension there. But as the story unfolds, the two become very good friends. Antonia's quite a likable person, like a person with a lot of integrity, very likable. So they become friends. And a number of story threads unravel, and there's some dark mysteries. A tragedy occurs, but rather than spoil the ending, let me just say there's a fire. But rather than total destruction, relationships are saved, some of the relationships in here, and life goes on for the better.
That sounds lovely. Like it wraps up
It
nicely.
is. It's a nice book.
That sounds good. Well, those are our reviews for this week, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
We want to thank you guys for participating in another one of our virtual programs. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.